Do you notice this? Most of our exhaustion doesn't come from work itself or never-ending deadlines. It comes from the thoughts we replay in our own heads. The average American checks their phone close to 100 times a day, often not because it's necessary, but because the mind can't settle. The Buddha pointed to this long ago. Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts. Picture this. It's 11 p.m. after a long day. Your body is tired, but your mind is a projector that won't shut off. An unanswered email, a comment a coworker made, a worry about tomorrow. You toss and turn, trying to push it all away, and the harder you try, the louder it spins. This is the nightly ritual for millions. Outwardly, you might look successful. Inwardly, you feel restless and hollow. Is there a way for the mind to rest even when life stays busy? In this video, we'll explore practical Buddhist wisdom to step out of overthinking and return to the quiet that's always been inside you. Have you ever felt drained, not by what's actually happening, but by the story your mind keeps retelling? Overthinking isn't a faithful mirror of reality. It's more like a loudspeaker looping an old song until you're worn out. In Buddhist language, this restless state is the monkey mind, leaping from memory to worry, from hope to regret. The Buddha taught that it isn't the world that hurts us most. It's the undisciplined mind. When the mind roams unchecked, it creates more suffering than circumstances themselves. Imagine a typical evening commute. The sunset is right there, but you don't see it. Your mind is replaying the morning meeting. Did I say that well enough? Is my manager disappointed? I should have answered differently. You get home, dinner is on the table, but your brain is still in your inbox. Later in bed, instead of resting, your mind runs a marathon of what-ifs. What if tomorrow goes badly? What if I lose my job? What if I'm not good enough? Reality is simple. You're driving, you're eating, you're lying down. Overthinking turns every moment into a battlefield. Psychology calls this rumination the loop of negative, repetitive thinking. In that loop, the amygdala, the brain's stress center, fires nonstop, cortisol rises, your heart rate climbs, muscles tense, sleep gets choppy, and the next day starts on fumes. Studies show overthinking doesn't just sink mood, it weakens immunity. In short, thoughts that never rest slowly wear down your health and your life. So overthinking isn't a small habit. It's a widespread ailment of the modern mind. Buddhism calls it an undisciplined mind. Science calls it rumination. Different names, same root. A mind that hasn't learned to pause. Healing begins when you learn to see thoughts like clouds crossing a vast sky, appearing and passing, without letting them cover the entire horizon. Not every cloud means a storm. Not every thought is a fact. One big reason we overthink is because we treat every mental whisper as truth. But thoughts are events, not verdicts. They arise and fade. Buddhism says everything is impermanent, including thoughts. Imagine your mind as the open sky. Thoughts are clouds. Some dark, some light, some heavy, some thin. But the sky remains wide and undisturbed. You are the sky, not the passing weather. When you realize this, you stop getting swept away by each storyline. A familiar example. You text a coworker and an hour passes with no response. Instantly, the mind writes a script. They don't like me. I messed up. They're talking about me. Reality might be simple. They're in a meeting. We turn a small cloud into a thunderstorm and pay for it with anxiety and lost sleep. Therapies like MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, show that when we observe thoughts instead of fusing with them, rumination drops and the prefrontal cortex, the calm, wise part of the brain, comes online. Mindfulness training can also quiet the brain's default mode network, the wandering mind circuit, so the mind can rest in a wider, steadier awareness. When you treat thoughts like clouds, you don't fight or cling. You let them come and go. In that letting, the mind begins to rest. Sometimes one mindful breath can save you from an hour of spiraling. Overthinking often starts as a tiny spark. If we don't pause, it pulls 100 more thoughts into the storm. The key is to pause before the spiral picks up speed. In Buddhism, the breath is an anchor. Mindfulness of breathing calms the mind and clears the heart, the teachings say. The moment you feel the pull, return to one complete inhale and one complete exhale. That single cycle can interrupt the momentum. Picture an email from your boss. We need to talk. Your mind writes a disaster script. Am I getting fired? What did I do wrong? Heart racing, palms sweaty. If you reply from that state, you might send a defensive message. But if you stop, place your hands on the desk, breathe in and out once or twice, other possibilities return. Maybe it's a new project. The storm weakens when you pause. A simple cognitive tool is S.T.O.P. S. Stop. T. Take a breath. O. Observe what you're feeling and thinking. P. Proceed wisely. Even a few mindful breaths engage the parasympathetic nervous system. Heart rate slows, cortisol dips, and your brain gets space to see clearly. Pausing isn't a waste of time. It's how you cut the spiral before it swallows your day. Overthinking isn't weakness. It's your mind overprotecting you. Many of us spiral because we punish ourselves. We autopsy our mistakes, zoom in on flaws, and hand down life sentences. The antidote is self-compassion. In Buddhism, loving kindness, metta, begins with yourself. You can search the whole universe, the Buddha teaches, and not find anyone more deserving of your love than you. Without self-kindness, the inner critic never sleeps. With it, mistakes become lessons instead of life sentences. Think of giving a presentation and forgetting one small detail. Everyone else moved on, but at 10 p.m. you haven't. You replay every word, every glance, whispering, I'm terrible. How could I be so stupid? Now try this. Hand on heart, deep breath, and I did my best today. Mistakes are part of learning. Feel the relief? That's self-compassion. Research by Dr. Kristen Neff shows self-compassion lowers anxiety and depression and reduces rumination. Biologically, it releases oxytocin, the bonding, soothing hormone that signals safety to your nervous system. In that safety, the mind can finally put down its weapons. Treating yourself kindly isn't soft. It's strength. When you stop beating yourself up, you create space for peace. Also, your mind can't rest if you feed it constant noise. Every notification, headline, and short video plants seeds. Too many seeds and there's no room to breathe. The practice is to simplify your inputs. Buddhism calls this guarding the sense doors. Not walling off life, but choosing what you let in. You nourish what brings clarity and reduce what scrambles your attention. Think of a recent night. You grabbed your phone for 5 minutes before bed. An hour later, you've scrolled Instagram. Your head packed with hundreds of images and stories. Lights out. But the mind keeps editing, comparing, worrying. Reality is simple, you're lying in bed. But with that much intake, the mind can't be still. Excess digital stimulation, especially before sleep, hurts sleep quality and raises anxiety. Cutting social media to even 30 minutes a day has been linked to less anxiety and less FOMO. When you detox from noise, the brain resets, brain waves slow, the nervous system relaxes, and mental clarity returns. Just like junk food harms the body, junk information agitates the mind. Curate your inputs and you give your mind the gift of space. Rest is not laziness. Even the Buddha sat quietly beneath the Bodhi tree. In modern life, we often equate rest with weakness, but without pauses the mind burns out and overthinks more. Rest is fuel for wisdom. Buddhism calls it the middle way, not overworking to collapse, not drifting into indulgence. The Buddha tried severe austerities and discovered that insight grows best in balance. Rest isn't running from responsibility. It's creating room for the mind to recover. A Silicon Valley CEO once said his best ideas arrive on quiet walks, not in back-to-back meetings. A busy office worker takes 5 minutes midday to breathe, close her eyes, and put the phone down, and her afternoon focus improves. Rest isn't quitting the race. It's refueling so you can run well. Studies suggest productivity slumps after about 50 minutes of continuous work, while short micro-breaks restore attention. A 20-minute power nap can boost memory and creativity. Rest regulates the nervous system, lowers cortisol, and supports serotonin, the chemistry of steady well-being. Soil needs fallow time to bear fruit. Your mind needs quiet to return to its natural clarity. And remember, Peace isn't in yesterday or tomorrow. It lives only here while you're breathing. We overthink because we ping-pong between past and future. The past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. And we let the present get stolen by what doesn't exist. The solution is an anchor in the now. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. The Buddha teaches, mindfulness is that anchor. When you give full attention to a single breath, a single step, or a single bite, you step out of the swirl of 1,000 thoughts. The present becomes a safe harbor. Have you ever eaten lunch while scrolling, then realized you barely tasted a thing? That's an unconscious meal. Put the phone down. Chew slowly. Notice color, texture, aroma. In those few minutes, the mind rests. On a short walk, instead of replaying the morning meeting, feel the air on your skin. Hear the birds. Notice your footsteps. These small anchors bring you back to the only place life ever happens. Research shows that a wandering mind is generally a less happy mind, no matter the activity. Mindful eating reduces stress and supports digestion. When attention returns to the present, the parasympathetic system engages, and the body can repair. Your anchor can be simple. One deep breath, one slow step, one sip of water. When you truly show up for this moment, overthinking loosens its grip. Peace was never somewhere else, it's always been here. Of course, understanding isn't enough. Peace arrives through practice. Here's a simple daily routine you can start today. Morning, 3 mindful breaths plus a small intention. Sit up in bed. One hand on your belly. 3 slow breaths. Feel the rise and fall. Then whisper, today, I choose calm over chaos. I choose balance over burnout. This sets your mental tone for the day. Even 3 deep breaths can cue the body's rest and digest system and lower your heart rate. At work, pause before email, S.T.O.P. Stop. Take a breath. Observe what's rising. Proceed wisely. 10 seconds can prevent a whole spiral and a reactive reply. This CBT-backed move reduces anxiety and improves decisions. Midday, 5 phone-free minutes of mindful eating. Taste, smell, texture. Just you and the meal. It feeds the body and gives the mind a rest. Mindful eating is linked to lower stress and better digestion. Afternoon, gratitude pause, 3 lines. Skip the doom scroll. Write 3 things you're grateful for. A great cup of coffee. Someone smiled at me. Gratitude journaling has been associated with higher serotonin, less overthinking, and better sleep. Evening self-compassion check-in. Hand on heart. I did my best today. It's enough. I am enough. This nurtures kindness toward yourself and helps you release the day. Self-compassion triggers oxytocin and soothes the nervous system. Before bed, 5 mindful steps plus 1 good thing. Take 5 slow steps in your room. Inhale with a step, exhale with a step. Feel your feet meet the floor. Then close your eyes and recall 1 good thing from today. Walking meditation can settle the heart and support natural melatonin for sleep. Small pauses, not drastic life changes. These tiny pockets of practice are the antidote to overthinking, and they give your mind places to rest. We've walked from recognizing overthinking to learning how to meet it. Seeing thoughts as clouds, pausing before the spiral, practicing self-compassion, protecting your attention, honoring rest, and anchoring in the present. Deadlines won't disappear. Emails, texts, family responsibilities will keep coming. What changes is how you show up. You're no longer the victim of every thought. You're the witness who chooses the response. Buddhism teaches that peace doesn't come from removing all difficulty, but from changing our relationship to it. Peace isn't far away. It's like a candle in the dark, already lit, needing only shelter from the winds of worry. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You're wider, deeper, and quieter than any storyline. When you let the mind rest, you discover a simple truth. Peace has always been within you, waiting to be noticed. If this brought you a little breathing room, subscribe to Buddhism Wisdom, Spirituality, tap like, and share it with a friend. You never know, 1 mindful breath might change someone's whole day. And next time, we'll go deeper into another root of anxiety, attachment. Our next video, The Secret to Real Peace. Why Buddhism says stop trying to be perfect. You'll learn how to put down what weighs on your heart and live lighter and freer.